Hi there, students. To calibrate. Calibration, a noun, I think most commonly uncountable, but not always. Okay, to calibrate is to check something that measures to see if it is accurate. For example, you're driving in your car and you've got the speedometer that tells you the speed. But how do you know that when it says 30 miles per hour, you are actually doing 30 miles per hour? And that could be a difficult thing to calibrate. Okay, or for example, a thermometer. Well, one of the ways to calibrate a thermometer would be to put it in boiling water and see if it says 100 degrees centigrade when the water is boiling. That would be one way of calibrating it. So to calibrate is to check that a measuring device is actually working, to adjust it by comparison with a standard. Okay, so you calibrate, you make corrections in it, you calibrate something to make sure that it's measuring exactly the right thing. So you can also use this calibrate, meaning to adjust so that images are accurately reproduced. So you could calibrate the tint on your computer display. Also, to calibrate can be to put the measurements or the marks accurately on something to show that to show how the different graduations. So to mark the scale on a measuring instrument. Okay, so to check or adjust by comparing with a standard. Yeah, I'm still trying to work out how to calibrate my speedometer on the car. Okay, to calibrate an instrument. Or for example, you have something that weighs. So if you take something that you know has the weight of a kilo, then you could calibrate it by putting this weight on it, or putting half of it, and like that you can calibrate your instrument. You can correlate with a standard to check the instrument's accuracy. You can calibrate to something as well to take into account external factors. Okay, so for example, radiocarbon dating. This is something that you need. It needs to be carefully calibrated. The radiocarbon results need to be calibrated to convert it into a specific age, or to calibrate to carefully assess or adjust something. So for example, calibrating risk can be a very difficult thing to do. So here we're using calibrating, or to calibrate, meaning with the idea of to measure. Okay, so how do you calibrate emotion? It's impossible to. Is it possible to calibrate how happy somebody is or how depressed somebody is? And the problem is it's impossible to calibrate because there is no standard scale. Yeah, because to calibrate is to check or adjust by comparing with a standard. Yeah, to tune it to get it absolutely right. But yeah, you need to try and calibrate more intangible things. How do you calibrate the value of a piece of art? Well, the value of a piece of art is easy to calibrate. It's how much somebody is prepared to pay for it. Yeah, and this is the only way to calibrate art. How do you calibrate beauty? Well, I guess you could show lots of people a face and ask them to rate it. Like that, you could calibrate the beauty of something. Um, this this accident has been a very severe blow to the company. The problem is, how do we calibrate how severe a blow it is? So how do we measure it? How do we put it on a scale of 1 to 50 or 1 to 100? Yeah, so you calibrate an instrument or a tool, you adjust it to measure. If you calibrate something, you measure it accurately. How do you calibrate a change in people's opinions? How do you calibrate a level of achievement? So calibrating some people's English can be quite difficult, and that's why we have various different exams to calibrate the quality of their English. Okay, so to calibrate, calibration. I think I'm going to give this a 6 in formality, semi-formal conversation, semi-formal writing, or something very formal. And this comes from the word the calibre in French. From Italian calibro, the size of the barrel of a gun, the capacity of a gun. Maybe from Arabic qualib, a mold, which itself comes from ancient Greek. Kalapouros, the dimensions of something. So, calibration.